Welcome back. Earlier, we debunked several popular parenting theories. In this lesson, we're going to debunk one more, and that is that praise builds self-esteem. In this last generation particularly, parents and teachers have used praise in an effort to build up the self-esteem of children. We've done this because we believe that if kids think of themselves as smart or talented or athletic, they'll become those things. We want our kids to feel confident. What research has shown, however, is that praise is actually discouraging to children, and I'll explain 3 major reasons why. I'll also highlight some of the groundbreaking research about the effects of praise on kids. Then, in the next lesson, I'll help you make that change in a positive way. Let's begin by clarifying a few terms so we're all speaking the same language. Most people use the terms praise and encouragement interchangeably. According to Adlerian principles and positive discipline, however, there is a big difference between praise and encouragement. We'll compare praise and encouragement by first looking at the dictionary definitions. The dictionary definition of praise is to express favorable judgment. The dictionary definition of encouragement is to inspire with courage or to spur on. To express judgment versus inspire with courage. Which sounds better to you? Would you rather be judged or would you rather be inspired? The difference between judgment and inspiration is emblematic of the overall differences between praise and encouragement. Let's take a closer look at what expressions of praise and encouragement would sound like and what they feel like to our kids. To determine if we're using praise or encouragement, we can first look at who or what is the focus. For example, expressions of praise focus on the doer. So it might sound something like this: "You're such a good boy, you're such a good girl." In contrast, encouragement focuses on the deed, what the child actually did. So instead, we might say, "Thank you for setting the table," or "I appreciate your help packing lunches." This might not sound like a big deal, but let me highlight why this is important. If you have a child who you've asked to set the table because you have company coming over, and they do what you ask, and you say, "Oh, what a good boy you are," that focuses on the doer, the good boy. But 5 minutes later, just as company is arriving, you see your son dump an entire bin of action figures all over the living room floor. In frustration, you might say something like, "Oh, you are such a bad boy. I told you to keep your toys out of the living room. Look at this big mess." So, in 5 short minutes, that child has gone from being a good boy to a bad boy. Kids are very literal. So what is he, a good boy or a bad boy? With encouragement, we instead focus on the deed. So we might say, "Oh, thank you for setting the table because now I have a few extra minutes to finish up some things before company comes." We can still deal with the toys all over the floor, but we can handle that in a more positive way. Praise focuses on the doer, which can feel like judgment, and encouragement focuses on the deed itself, which will likely inspire the child to want to do that deed again. The second big difference between praise and encouragement is that praise puts the emphasis on the end product. We might say, "Wow, you got an A on the science test." Our focus was on the A, the end product. With encouragement, we focus on the effort and improvement. So instead, we might say, "Wow, you worked really hard to get this A on your science test." Or, "Your grades in science are really improving. Your hard work is paying off." Can you hear the difference in that? This is important for several reasons. First of all, as you know, all kids are not capable of A work. So if we're solely focused on the A's, then that becomes the most important thing to our kids. And what if your child is working really hard in Spanish and brings home a C, or some other subject that isn't as easy for him? How will he feel about bringing home that C grade despite his extraordinary efforts? Or what about the child who does get all A's? Does that mean she can just stop trying? With encouragement, we always want to focus on the effort and improvement, not the end product. There's nothing wrong with being excited about an A, but it's important to tie it to some action the child can repeat. Hard work, practice, improvement, reaching out for help. Aren't those the qualities we want to inspire on our kids as they grow up? We want them to work hard and know that with hard work and perseverance, they'll get better results. The third big difference between praise and encouragement has to do with motivation and where it comes from. There are two types of motivation, external and internal. If we're externally motivated, we do behaviors or make decisions to receive some sort of external payback. For instance, recognition or money or praise. If we're internally motivated, we behave and make choices according to our internal compass of what's right or wrong. Let's take a closer look at this external versus internal motivation. If, for example, your child has just drawn a picture, we might say something like, "Oh, I love your picture," or "Good job," or "You're so awesome, you're the best." These comments sound positive, but they're simply external praise. It's external judgment. "I love your picture," so you can feel really great about that. What ends up happening is that the child continues to perform a behavior because it pleases us. In fact, for kids who get a lot of praise, you'll hear them continue to seek approval from their parents and teachers. "Do you like my painting? Do you think I did a good job, Daddy?" A child who wants to please his parent may seem like a good thing. In fact, that is one of the ways that adults manipulate kids to do what parents want them to do. "Make Mommy happy and clean up this room." The problem is, the more we heap on that external praise, the more kids crave it. And the sad part is, it erodes their own confidence because they can't determine for themselves if they did well. They depend on others for approval. A child who needs external motivation or validation can be highly susceptible to some dangerous situations down the road when the stakes are a lot higher. When your child is a teenager and facing the decision of whether to do drugs or not, cheat on the test or not, have sex or not, how do you want them to be motivated? By what others think? By their peer group? By what the boyfriend or girlfriend thinks is cool? Or will they be motivated by and make decisions according to their own internal compass? Of course, we want our kids to develop a strong internal compass for what's right and wrong. However, the more we praise a child, we set up a situation where they crave external rewards and external validation. And just like a junkie needs the next hit, a praise junkie needs continuous affirmation and approval from other people that they're doing okay. Encouragement, on the other hand, fosters internal motivation. So using that same example of the artwork, if we want to respond with encouragement, we might say, "Which painting do you like best?" That forces her to look inside herself and decide. Or, "You must feel so proud of your hard work." It's not about us, it's about the child. We want them to feel proud of their hard work, their improvement, their perseverance. It's fine if we're proud of them, but it's more important that they be proud of themselves. That will serve them better in the long run when they're making more of their own decisions. To that end, if you've been dishing out a lot of the "I'm so proud of you" praise for years, your kids may be somewhat addicted to that praise already. As you start to shift your communication, they'll probably ask you, "Mommy, are you proud of me? Daddy, are you proud?" You can say, "Sweetie, what's more important is how you feel. Do you feel proud of yourself?" Over time, that will begin to lessen their dependence on you for approval. The bottom line is, you may get some short-term results from using praise, but in the long run, we risk raising praise junkies who can't think for themselves and depend on others for affirmation. For practice on distinguishing between praise and encouragement, check out the interactive that goes along with this lesson. But here's one for you to think about now. Is this a statement of praise or encouragement? "You are so smart." What do you think? "You are so smart" is actually a statement of praise. It's an external label, smart, placed on the doer. It has nothing to do with the deed, hard work, perseverance, practice, or anything else. It's simply a smart label. Now let's be honest, we've probably all said, "You're so smart" to our kids. We feel like if we tell them they're smart, they'll feel smart. We do it to boost their confidence. According to the research, however, telling a kid he's smart can actually do more harm than good. Let me tell you about a groundbreaking study on the effect of praise on students. Researcher Carol Dweck and Columbia University conducted a study with 500 fifth-grade students in the New York City school system. The researchers would take one child at a time out of the classroom for a nonverbal IQ test consisting of a series of puzzles. The puzzles were easy enough that all the kids would do fairly well. Once the child finished the test, the researchers told each one his score and then gave a single line of feedback. The students were randomly divided into two groups. So for the feedback, one group was praised for their intelligence. They were told, "You must be smart at this." The students in the other group were encouraged for their effort and told, "You must have worked really hard." After the first round, the students were given a choice in the type of test they wanted for round two. One choice was a more difficult test, but they were told they would learn a lot. The other choice was an easy test, just like the first one they were told. So what do you think they picked? Of those students who were encouraged for their effort, those told, "You must have worked really hard," 90% of those students chose the harder set of puzzles in the next round. Of those praised for their intelligence, told, "You must be smart at this," a majority chose the easier test. Dr. Dweck wrote in her research summary, "When we praise kids for their intelligence, we tell them, that's the name of the game. Look smart, don't risk making mistakes." That's exactly what happened in this study. The majority of students who were told they were smart chose to look smart rather than run the risk of feeling embarrassed. Think about that with our own kids. Most parents know that negative labels are discouraging to kids. However, to avoid raising praise junkies, we need to avoid positive labels as well. Labels like smart, pretty, athletic are external labels that put unnecessary pressure on kids to always live up to those labels. In Carol Dweck's book, she also talks about the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Individuals with a fixed mindset believe that their qualities like intelligence or creativity, humor, other personality traits are set in stone. That's basically the way God made you, and that's who you are. A person's traits are fixed, not something that can be practiced or developed. Individuals with a growth mindset, on the other hand, believe that effort or training can change one's qualities and traits. So no matter where you are today, with hard work and effort, you can always improve. Can you see how saying "you're so smart" contributes to that fixed mindset? According to Carol Dweck, emphasizing effort gives a child a variable they can control. It doesn't matter where I am today, with effort and perseverance, I can always improve. They come to see themselves as in control of their own success. Emphasizing natural intelligence, or smarts, takes it out of the child's control and provides no good recipe for responding to a failure. So the next time you're tempted to say, "Oh, you're so smart," or any label for that matter, think about the qualities or the traits that make up that label and encourage that in your child. For example, "That's what I call perseverance," or "You must feel so proud of your hard work." That fosters a growth mindset, a variable the child can control. I'll never forget when I made this shift with my kids. I stopped gushing praise and I started saying, "You must feel so proud of yourself," and other encouraging phrases. One day, my son, who was probably in the first grade, came up to me and said, "Mom, I feel really proud of myself because," whatever it was. I almost burst with excitement. I knew he was developing his own internal motivation. He felt proud of himself rather than depending on me to know that he was doing okay. As I've taught this lesson over the years, I've had parents say, "Amy, my kid is so challenging, I can't find anything to encourage." Well, if your child is truly that challenging, trust me, he needs encouragement more than you know. The sad truth is, kids who need encouragement the most get it the least, and that creates a vicious cycle of misbehavior. You can always find something to encourage. Any movement in the right direction can be encouraged. I like to think about encouragement as a big red arrow. It is progress towards the goal. Anytime the child is moving in the right direction, that's what we want to encourage. The results don't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to live up to your expectations. It's just movement in the right direction. Again, kids who need encouragement the most get it the least. Now, you can test out your understanding of praise versus encouragement in the interactive activity. Then, in the next lesson, we'll talk about a major pitfall you want to avoid when encouraging your kids.